and everybody, and welcome to another Smoke and Mirrors. This episode is brought to you by the letter H and the number infinity. And now here's the song. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Okay, fine. And now here they are, your invenerable host, Carlos Karim Wyndham. Well, hi there. Glockenspiel, so you know it's real. Hope everybody is well, and welcome to another Smoke and Mirrors. Thank you for joining us, if in fact you are. Want to say that I do recognize that we were off last week in an unannounced way. Not usually how we do it. Here's one of the things. When we began this whole endeavor, what we said is that I was going to be here as often as I could, and initially it was every day, for about 20 minutes a day, and now it's about 40 minutes. Not knowing that when I said I would do this for as long as there was a COVID-19, not knowing that we were signing an infinity contract. And so we're going into the second winter holiday doing this. And we will be here as consistently as possible. That's at Tuesdays and Thursdays, for sure, 4:20. Or as close to there too as possible, as often as possible. But we will be moving to more of a regular broadcast schedule, meaning that if there is a break in broadcasting, it might be a break in our broadcasting as well. Because turns out, you can't just do shows forever, ever without ever taking a break. Hey, Chantrell, it's so good to see you. How you doing? Aw, look at that there. Other thing before we get too far into it today, new microphone placement. Chantrell, anybody else? Let me know if this is working. I'm trying to serve you face, and it is technically this not how you use a microphone, and having been raised on them, it is odd for me not to just do this and make sure, because the sound quality is really where my head goes. But let me know. Two other things. One is a happy continued recovery and continued break to producer Tracy, who will be back with us again next week. Still continuing to extend the break that we were taking last week. And a very happy birthday to another of my key collaborators, Dahlia Bell. Happy birthday to ya. Dahlia Bell is 59 years old today. Happy birthday, Dahlia. 22. All right. Let's do a show. That's why you're here. Like and subscribe. Please, if you're someplace, like it, subscribe it. If this is worth a thing, there's a Venmo there. Carlos-Wyndham. There's a Cash App. $CK Wyndham. There's a PayPal /me.ck and of course there's a Patreon at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. If you need it again, maybe ask me later, and or go ahead and check us out on the YouTube, because we're there too, and you can rewind it at your leisure. Like and subscribe wherever it is. Hey, look at this, Culture Day, Culture Day, Culture Day, Culture Day. Okay, so there's a thing that when I begin, it's going to sound like I'm being a little bit hack as we get into it. I hope it's going to evolve, because the question is, why would I talk about something that everybody's already talking about ad nauseum and is tired of hearing about? There would be reasons. If I got to bring it up too, there's reasons. Big Bird. Jesus Christ. Big Bird is in the news because this country sucks. Big Bird is in the news and has become a target of the right wing and the culture wars, because the big fella put out a tweet. Now, before I share the tweet with you, I do want to point out once again that Big Bird is a fictional creature and does not hold actual opinions in his 6-year-old puppet head.
I got the COVID-19 vaccine today. My wing is feeling a little sore, but it'll give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy. Miss Erica R. Hill even said I've been getting vaccines since I was a little bird. I had no idea.
Joshua, we're gonna go ahead and work out imitations in rehearsal. Okay. So anyway, Big Bird said that, and right, who would have a problem with that? Well, hey, Ted Cruz, who became a lackey of the MAGA movement and of Donald Trump after Trump trounced him in the last election, and he started doing phone calls for Trump, doing a little bit of fundraising. He had something to say about Big Bird getting a vaccine. He said,
Government propaganda for your 5-year-old.
Now, the thing is, 5-year-olds don't read Twitter, and it's not propaganda to use a character to share information. It is just sharing information. If, for instance, Big Bird were dressed up in a Captain America uniform, and then we're talking about killing Hitler or Saddam Hussein, that would be propaganda. Anyway, this here is the head of corporate broadcasting, corporate public broadcasting. And a couple of years ago, she had a concern because the Trump administration was doing what it could to gut corporate public broadcasting, which you may or may not know as a partner in Sesame Street, along with Sesame Workshop. Also, corporate public broadcasting, with the thing that they do is to make sure that everybody has access to PBS, which if you have looked at it recently, you may recall looks a lot like what television used to look like in the 80s, which was a reflection of what television looked like about in the 50s, which was, hey, could this be an educational tool too? And the United States made an investment that said, yeah, it could. And so what we're going to set up is a corporation that will be designated to public broadcasting. This woman, dressed as Big Bird, it was the head of it while Trump was the president still, and she said that she didn't understand why Trump was trying to gut public broadcasting. What she said is that when you look at the entire economy of public broadcasting, about 15% of the funding for our stations comes from the federal appropriations. But as an aggregate number, her name is Krager. Kerger? What is it? Joshua? Krager? Kroger? What is it? Kerger. Their name is Kerger. She said that for some of the stations in the rural parts of the country, that's Cooksville, Tennessee, for example, it's probably about 40%. So see, the broadcasting corporation pays for up to 40% of what it costs to bring you anything that shows up. Bob Ross. Do you like Bob Ross? They got to pay for that. Somebody got to pay for it. That's why it looks like shit, right? Gwen Ifill, my auntie Gwen Ifill, was on McNeil and Lehrer Report. Now listen, my team ended up in outfits that made it look as though we shop at Burlington Coat Factory. That said, the money that is not spent on the wardrobe that is spent at Fox is actually spent on bringing the people the news for free. McNeil and Lehrer, bringing people the education for free. Sesame Street and all of this. Now, Trump's proposed 2020 federal budget, which was released on March 11 of 2019, had proposed that what it would do would be eliminate all taxpayer funding for the corporate public broadcasting over about a 2-year span, which would mean around 2022, bringing the actual appropriation that they have from $465 million down to about 30 million, which is cutting it by about quick math here, 94%. Hey, oh boy. And when you do that and you cut public broadcasting by 90%, it makes it near impossible for them to contribute meaningfully to a production like Muppet Workshop, which would bring you Sesame Street, right? It also would make it almost impossible to bring you Nova. It would make it almost impossible to make McNeil and Lehrer a thing that meant that they still had reporters in the field. They would become an aggregate report site, much like Huffington Post. It's a lot at stake. And if you think that, maybe it's just something that's in my head, or maybe this is something that, well, sure, this went away after Trump. You got to keep this in mind as well, okay? They're going after Clifford, the big red dog. 2 Arkansas senators took to social media to discuss local PBS funding after 2 LGBT characters appeared on Clifford, the big red dog. Don't show us your homos. Don't show us your trans folk, say the comedians of the day. And why should we pay for any of it, says the Republican Party. PPPS, it is propaganda when you use those corporate dollars to try to convince parents to convince their children that it's time for a vaccine. This despite the ample evidence that Big Bird has been getting vaccinated since 1972. Rubella, mumps, the measles, all the things we keep talking about here. Big Bird, who again, if you're watching this with your family, I apologize, but I have to tell you, Big Bird, while very real, is also a big puppet. And so there are people in Big Bird and people who wrote Big Bird's tweet. And despite what Ted Cruz is asserting, they did not actually put a needle in that Muppet's arm. Just didn't happen that way. Jessica says, can I call propaganda on almost every history book I was ever handed in every school year in my life? Big Bird never steered me wrong. I mean, listen, hey, the idea that Washington and his crew were in the Delaware looking for freedom and that they weren't a bunch of riotous frat boys, a little bit drunk and high on mushrooms who just didn't want to pay taxes, called themselves a planter class and owned enslaved Africans who they chased down for the rest of their natural days, even after slavery was over. Yeah, you could call that propaganda. Thanksgiving could be called propaganda. That didn't happen. Big Bird. Apkadefkajakamanakwrkstuvrixis. It's the most incredible word I've ever seen. Come on. It's the alphabet. That's what it spells. Apkadefkajakamanakwrkstuvrixis. Anyway, again, the whole goal was to strip funding out of corporate public broadcasting, strip funding away from PBS, from the local affiliates, local stations, minimize the ability for local reporting to impact anything going on in the minds of the children or population, because an educated population is one that is hard to control, and it has been working. That's the bad news. Sesame Street had to move uptown and ended up moving up to HBO Plus. And so now, if you want to hear the propaganda of Big Bird, you have to subscribe to HBO Plus. You must pay for your education, a la Prager University, a la Trump University, a la the truth. The truth is Donald Trump's new social media network. Oh, that's good. Do you have a fuck? Get a fuck. Get you a warm bevy. Replenish your fucks. Oh, so warm going in. The problem is that it makes you really give a fuck to jump in. Yeah, follow the truth. Donald Trump wants you to look at his new app, which you can pick up at the App Store, which is a place where he is now piping his stuff because of his bullshit that was blocked off of Twitter and all of these social media. The site looks almost entirely like a Twitter clone. Users can post truths, which are like tweets They can also retruth, which are like retweets. They can also look at the news feed. They call that a you guessed it, truth feed. There's also a notification that will let users know who interacts with one of your truths. See, the site's code shows that it runs mostly on this unmodified version of Matston, which is a free open source software launched in 2016 that anyone, you, me, anyone can run for yourself. And the site does portray itself as being uncensored by big tech. Trump's site will, however, ban anyone who would disparage or tarnish or otherwise harm, in our opinion, us and our site. So is stated in the terms of service for the truth site. And that would be because they don't want to be attacked by the woke mob. These people who would like you to stop murdering people. So they don't want to. The woke mob. Oh, hey. Speaking of the woke mob, fuck lying fucking asshole Republican, Republican ass face, baseball player. I've heard, Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, is a fucking liar. Did I mention that? Did I say anything about that? Did we say? Huh? Oh, he said he's a libertarian? Is that what he said, Josh? Josh, let me tell you something. When somebody says they're a libertarian, that means they don't want to be called out for being a Republican, and they're probably a Trump Republican in specific. That's what that means. Yeah, no, they find it embarrassing to be a Republican because they don't want to be associated with the soft Republicans. Yeah, like Mitch McConnell. Anyway, this guy said he had taken a vaccine. He said they asked him, "Did you take a vaccine?" In a report, they said, "Did you take the Fauci vaccine? Dr. Fauci said you should take a vaccine. Did you take a vaccine?" And he said, "Yeah, I want to take a vaccine. I'm so vaccinated. I am immunized." He said, I am immunized. Myself, I'm throwing a football, and I'm so very, 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 very immunized. Now, here's the thing about that. He was not. He had been taking, I don't know, like dandelion juice and mixed with some unicorn piss that had sparkles in it, and wishes from fans, and a little boy in the hospital who promised if Mr. Football Man just got a little bit stronger and fought through all of the COVID, maybe I could get strong too and get out of the hospital one day, Mr. Rogers. And he said that if he got all of that stuff in him, that it would make him immunized. And then since it was found out that he's a fucking foul liar, that what actually is true is that he just didn't want to follow the rules that said he had to cover his mouth hole. Now, in the NFL, there's no rule that you've got to be immunized. You don't gotta. You don't gotta. That just means then you gotta go through a whole bunch of special other shit. Like we're gonna keep plugging Q-tips up your nose. You can't be near your friends and keep your face fucking covered. He said that if I cover my face, that's you trying to embarrass me and the woke mob coming after me, and I'm not gonna do it. And he lied and lied and lied and lied. And his team knew it, and the NFL knew it, and he was given the thing that Kyrie was not given, a white affirmative action program that said, go ahead, white boy, lie it up, get on the field, and if the press hadn't caught him, his ass would still be out there right now. There were a lot of people in the press that got real close to him, breathed on too. A fucking gross. A fucking gross. He didn't get a vaccine. He never got a vaccine. He was like doing not even doing the like ivermectin and shit. He was just like rubbing a Vicks Vapor Rub on his chest and putting some kind of a druid dream warrior statue over his bed that he had imported from the shores of wherever the fucking RC Cola of vaccinations is what this motherfucker was doing. While everybody else was on Coke or Pepsi, this nigga just shows up like, yeah, I'm freaking this. Num, 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 num. Yeah, hey, and by the way, while we're at it real quick, fuck you, RC Cola. That is not your can. You're not fooling anybody by dressing up. We know what you are. This is RC fucking Cola. Apka Defka Jekyll Stuvik says, motherfucker, I'm old. Being old gives me perspective, and the perspective is I've seen you before. Just like when Brett Favre Mini over there was giving his bullshit about how I'm kind of immunized. I don't know. Giving us the RC Cola of fucking answers. This is what RC Cola looks like. We're bullshitting. You're not Pepsi, and you're not fooling anybody. So State Farm decided that as an insurance company, it was a bad idea for them to be associated with Aaron Rodgers, the lying bullshit pseudoscience, flat earth, stupid as a goddamn rock quarterback. But they still found a way to be comfortable with sexual predator Drake as spokesperson. Allegedly, only according to everything all over Twitter that he and Millie Bobby had been writing together since she was a child, since before the season 4 was coming out. And I am looking forward to Stranger Things. I want to be very clear about that as well. Okay. I don't mean to be controversial, but I am looking forward to Stranger Things season 4. Also, Aaron Rodgers thought that it was a good idea for him to have in his mouth the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The good Reverend Senior rolling his eyes damn near into a coma. White people want so badly to be oppressed. Why? It's not that hot. We've done wonders with it. We are a cool people. But imagine how cool the shit we would have produced was had we not been having to fuck with you. He also mentioned that he was taking the advice of Fear Factor celebrity game show host and Texas resident Dr. Joseph Rogan. That is the right expression. That is the right expression for Joe Rogan, who evidently lost his T-shirt. He doesn't know where it is. It might be in his ass, where he is getting all his ideas. He may have had to tuck it in there because the ideas were getting too loose. Who knows? But evidently, Aaron Rodgers was getting his advice for lying to the public about whether he is vaccinated from Dr. Joseph Rogan and the ghost of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And Big Bird is Antifa. He was also talking about getting vaccinated again in 1979 when we were dealing with chicken pox, and it was then wiped out. But I suppose Ted Cruz and Aaron Rodgers are lobbying for chickenpox, are pro chickenpox, and we are in a culture war again with the Republican Party, who is fighting with a big yellow puppet child. Even if the child is not a puppet, the child then is a 6-year-old. Duh. And these culture wars have been going on for as long as I can remember. This is the same party that used to fight with Murphy Brown. And now that Murphy Brown's not on, they've decided that the other adorable person that they want to target is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Except that also, too, the way that they are approaching it is the same way that they approached the discussion about the gender of Mr. Potato Head and the whiteness of Santa Claus, which is to say, as though she is a fictional character who represents an idea and is not a person and can be attacked just nilly-willy, a la Murphy Brown or a Big Bird. Now, the thing is that is dangerous about this is that we're no longer dealing with a vice president who cannot correctly spell potato, dealing with a fictional CBS character that your mom loved because Kate and Allie wasn't on anymore. Now, we're dealing with a real whole-ass human being targeted by another whole-ass human being, I think, in Louis Gohmert, seen here, demonstrating the gills that Republicans and white people now breathe through, which is why they wear the mask on the jowls rather than over their faces, as do the rest of us who have yet to evolve. This motherfucker put up a tweet of himself where he put his head on, I'm not going to show it to you because it's gross, the body of a caricature who was dancing around, you know, like those elves that you sent around for Christmas a couple of years ago, jig-jigs or jag-jags, whatever they're called. And his jig-jig or jag-jag went zig-zig-zag-zag up to another one that had the head and face of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on it, and made as a GIF effigy, and where then he He assassinated her with 2 swords, and then went after the president. This sitting congressperson, sitting now in Congress person, whose siblings campaigned against his election, made a gif, he or his staff, of him assassinating another sitting congressperson. He's from Arizona. This is why it is dangerous to stoke these culture wars. The same culture wars that were being stoked by William F. Buckley when he was debating James Baldwin on the humanity or non-humanity of black people. The same culture wars that were being stoked by Laura Ingraham talking about how white or not Santa Claus is. Again, hide your kids. Santa Claus is a fictional character based on St. Nicholas, who was a whole different character because it had to replace the Jesus myth, and he's dressed in red and white to look like a Coca-Cola bottle in this country, and Jesus would have been born in March according to the Gregorian calendar anyway, and so what the fuck? Stop fighting pretend wars. You fight pretend wars, and then dum-dums get elected, and then they try to make it a real war. She has been attacked already. People, the Marjorie Taylor Greene has run up on her and started screaming at her at work. At work. This is a hostile work environment. Where the fuck is the Attorney General on this? Goddamn plate of mayonnaise that he is. Son of a biche. Do we have anything else? Oh, we're ending on that? Sweet. Fun. Hey. All right. This is, I don't know. This has been another good time, happy smoke sesh with Auntie Los. I'm sorry. Let's be honest, though. If you're still here, you kind of fucking knew what you were watching. You kind of knew what you were stepping into. If you are a local person to the Portland, Oregon area, guess what? Hey, we can see each other in person with masks or vaxes in our blood. If you're into that kind of thing, on Friday, guess what? I'm going to be playing with my band, Wallace, and we're going to be giving new music happening right in your face hole, in your ear holes, and it'll tickle your spine, and then you're going to dance. It's going to be wonderful. There's food there. There's drinks there. Friends there. Fun there. Where is there? There is Alberta Street Pub. You can get your tickets in advance online if you want to do something like that. And if you do not want to be bothered with that nonsense, hey, just come on in the door, and you can pay at the door right there. I think it's probably about $10. Yeah, I think so. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. I'm in the band, so if you show up and you say that you were sent by Smoke and Mirrors, and you're paying at the door, and you're paying in cash, $10. Promise you, $10. Let's see. Hey, here's another thing I'm going to be doing. And I'm sorry, Jessica. No, there's not an advanced list of all of my upcoming events. I wish listen, I'm working on the websites. I'm so sorry. Joshua, help me out. Anyway, raising hell. We're going to raise some hell. Why? Well, because evidently none of the interesting people would be in heaven. So, this is going to be a very special event and a recording of the comedy of the birthday lady herself, Mixdalia Delu Bell, will be your headliner. This is going to be hosted by The Real Hijinks, being presented by Dirty Angel Entertainment. Of course, the music is going to be provided by DJ Wildchild. Who's going to be there? Well, let me tell you who's going to be there. Scott the Second, Juan Duran, and of course, me, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. I'm going to be there. This is going to be on Saturday, and this is going to be happening at Alberta Alley, which is 126 Northeast Alberta. And hey, it's going to be early. It's going to be 7 o'clock. That's the 7 o'clock show. And so if you're an old, come to both. No, come to the 7 o'clock. 9 o'clock music, 7 o'clock comedy. That's what's happening this weekend. And this has been what? Smoke and Mirrors. Smoke and Mirrors. This is where you are now. You know what it is. The Instagram is where you can look at my mug and remind yourself which episode is which. And then if you want to connect to it over on the YouTube, the link is there as well. So you may as well go and check it out at IG at Smoke and Mirrors CCB Comedy Culture and Blackness. Do you like to Twitter? It's better than doing the Donald Trump site. You don't want to be on his weird big tech site, his fucking freedom site. Fuck all that. Come on over to Twitter, where people are violent. Don't be violent. God damn it. It's all just terrible. Anyway, Twitter is at Caballo Negrito, for the monolingual amongst us. Translates to watch out for a fascist. And if you have a thought, question, query about somebody who should be here on Smoke and Mirrors with me, well, guess what? If you write me about it, we will see if we can do something about it. Joshua will have a look. Tracy will have a look. And we will have a discussion. Smoke and Mirrors, ccb at gmail.com. This here thing is produced and hosted by myself, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. This is also produced by the one and only Tracy Tadamy. Tracy, we look forward to having you back on the set soon. Hey, the intern, their name's Joshua. And take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Listen to Big Bird. Don't listen to Ted Cruz. Go get a fucking vaccine. Take care of each other. We love you.